my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I am one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the bad movies of yesteryear. Now, Chris, what are we going to review this week?
That tone, David, the tone. Well, Dave, it's a Patreon pick by our good friend Susan and Patreon. Thank you, Susan, for supporting the podcast. We're going back, Dave, to 1987. A black comedy body horror film directed by J. Michael Muro, who's actually credited as Jim Muro. Now, we'll get into maybe that's why his name is different. But this one, Dave, is called Street Trash. So, had you even heard of this or watched this before?
Nope, never heard of it. And I don't think anything would have... if I had seen the trailer, there was nothing in the trailer that would have made me think, oh, yeah, I should probably watch this. And it's not like I haven't seen any 80s body horror. I think Reanimator was probably the first of that kind of little subgenre that I'd seen and had a weird, I don't really like this, but I kind of like it feeling about it. But yeah, I think this was a bit of bonkers, wasn't it? You know? So I can't even think, other than Reanimator, I can't think of anything else like this that I would have watched. So it's definitely an eye-opener, Chris. I mean, how about yourself?
Yeah, never. You know what? When we said we were doing it last week and the trailer, the name rang a bell. So at first, I'm thinking, Dave, you remember...
The Garbage Pail Kids?
Garbage Pail. Is it Men on a Mission with Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez, two brothers together? Do you remember that one? The Bin Men?
Is it Men at Work or something?
Men
like
at Work,
that?
maybe, or whatever it was. Men on a Mission's a bloody wrestling fucking tag team, Dave. But I think it's Men at Work, whatever it was. I remember because I saw it the other week, like what for someone, I come across it and I was like, I seem to remember quite enjoying that, but I don't think I'm going to pick that because I've only ever seen it once. But I'm sort of thinking, is it some sort of, you know, homage to the bin garbage collectors, Dave, of yesteryear? So I wasn't sure. It did ring a bell, but then obviously you've got different movies that have street in it. And I'm thinking, is it just because it's got street as the title? So when we saw the trailer, I was like, oh my God, what is this? It is readily available on YouTube. So that's usually a barometer for some of these movies, Dave. However, we know that the legend and king of Lauren Avedon's movies are readily available on YouTube, and that is just so the millions of fans have access to the acting prowess and martial arts mastery of Mr. Avedon. So it is, and Mr. Van Damme's, but quite a lot of his on there. So you can't really say it's not a bad thing. But with this, I watched the trailer, as you know, and I said, like, it was filling me with dread. I was like, oh my God, could there not be a genre of movie that I would not be into? So when Susan picked, I was like, Susan, you've done us again. You've done this again. Why? So I was looking forward to us chatting, and hopefully Susan doesn't, unfriend us, Dave, at the end of this. But I'm really interested in what you think of this one, because this is all over the place for me. What an interesting movie.
Well, you know what, Chris? I'm going to show my hand a little bit, but I'm going to say, you know what? I reckon Susan's like low-key looking for the title. We always say John Hammond, Spider Dan, they're always trying to, they're always trying to chuck in these terrible movies to force us to watch. Susan's got quite an eclectic taste, and she throws in some of these curveballs as well. I should probably keep my powder a bit more dry than I've just alluded to there, but this one is something else, Chris.
It is, and Susan's tastes are unbelievable, and she has, Dave, an award on the podcast, doesn't she? That nobody has beaten, and I don't want to really say the award because I can just feel the legend that is Spider-Dan, and maybe even Blake, and maybe even Mr. John Hammond, all looking through their back catalogue of movies. But Susan has the honour, I don't think we've ever mentioned on the podcast, of picking a Patreon pick earlier this year, and both of us basically got little bit through it and we're like, we can't cover this on the podcast.
Excuse me, I fucking watched the whole thing.
Oh yeah, you watched it actually. But I got so far in it and was like, this is a step too far. And the legend that is Susan was like, even I couldn't watch it, and we were laughing. What we like, she's absolutely. So she does have an award that's never unofficially been given out. So Susan, you do have the award for the only movie in the VHS Strikes Back 6-year career of us not being able to review or finish it. So yes, you did finish it, Dave, and you did say something like my eyes were bleeding at the end of it. So Susan, we're giving you this award. Whether Street Trash is up there, I'm not sure, but yes, that is one iconic award that nobody's been able to beat. And I really, really am thinking, why the hell have I said that on the podcast, Dave? Because I know that.
Honestly, I don't know why you're saying it either, because people are scampering now to look through their back catalogue and thinking, how can I fucking challenge this award?
Yeah. I can feel your virtual punch coming through that stop the pigeon. You know, like, you're going to ring me later and start wringing me fucking neck going, you bellend, you know, like, why have you done that? So anyway, on that bombshell, shall we get into the trailer?
Let's go.
I don't need this.
Are you tired of the same old routine?
My wife, my
busting your hump and getting nowhere?
This just ain't my day.
The boss, is he always on your back?
Nice, my ass belongs in your chair, not in your lap, which is where you keep trying to put it. You bastard!
The wife,
you know,
and the kids.
Is that right?
They never listen.
I hate to see him pissing his life away in them goddamn computers.
Do you ever feel like forgetting the whole thing?
You think I got it easy?
Well, now you can.
I'm talking about life!
Drop out and join the ranks of the few. The filthy. The trash.
I got my own place, a condominium.
Where else can you live for free? And eat for even less? Well, be forewarned. Freedom has its price. Yes, there's always a snake in the Garden of Eden.
What you got for me today?
Today, Tenafly Viper. $1.
Here's to you, pussy. Don't drink my Viper. Watch.
What's the matter? You can't hold your liquor, huh?
Street trash. It's easy to find us. We're all over the place. Street trash.
The owner of a liquor store in Brooklyn, New York, finds a case of cheap booze, Tenafly Viper, in his basement. It's more than 60 years old and has gone bad, but he decides to sell it to the local hobos anyway. Unfortunately, anyone who drinks it melts away hideously. At the same time, two homeless brothers find different ways to cope with homelessness while they make their residence in a local junkyard, with one employee, a female cashier, and a clerk, frequently tends to both of them. Chris, what do you reckon to the opening of this movie?
Dave, you know what? I reckon that like John Hammond's definitely seen this, and Spider-Dan, 100%, and Blake probably. Them three I've already singled out, so apologies, but them three have definitely seen this. This is shot like Samurai Cop, innit? It's shot on like £3.50 budget, because what's really strange is in some of the scenes, especially at the start, they film it And then the next minute, it's like they get a better camera, and the shot becomes almost like soap opera. In the camera gets that I can't describe it. Like, it's really strange. It's shot like it's a low budget movie, which it is. But then the next minute, it feels like I'm watching a soap opera when they're supposed to be in the junkyard in like the office or something. It might even be the real office. It feels as if like all of a sudden the budget for lighting came in, and there's scenes in this movie where it looks well produced, and the next scene you're like, oh, this is fucking terrible. Now, this movie is awful. This movie is fucking rubbish, but it's weird because it's like, well, as a story, this guy just randomly finds a hole in the wall with a massive fucking, crate full of this stuff. And all the people in it need a good wash, don't they? It's supposed to be like this desolate part of New York. Everyone
fucking awful. I can almost smell the fucking film.
Oh, it's minging in it. It's fucking minging. Like, very good job on the way they've put that together. But yeah, the story is devoid of anything. I don't know what the hell
story.
Well, exactly. It's like a mishmash of just scenes together. But even like the acting, fuck me. This is. I mean, I saw that the main guy, he was literally cast on the day, and even to this day, Dave, the guy who plays Bronson, he didn't even read the script until afterwards, and he doesn't even know what the movie was about now. The guy who was playing Bronson got fired, and he came on the day and just literally did a bit of photography, and that was him in the movie. So this movie makes no sense whatsoever. It is literally almost like a comedy sketch show, and they've just thrown stuff together with a bit of horror, because it is absolutely awful. Susan has done some great work picking this one out, and I really hope it's not one of her favourite movies of all time, but maybe it is. But this is a terrible movie for me.
It is, but yes, I'd be surprised. Maybe Susan does love this one, but I think it's an understated, low-key stitch-up here. So what I'd say is, I think I can see why this would almost have a cult following. So, like you say, the budget's probably about £3.50. I do think it is shot a little bit better than Samurai Cop. I mean, that is peak not understanding exposure or anything, and just flashing from scene to scene, which are clearly different locations. I've just never seen anything so technically bad as Samurai Cop and Glorious at the same time. But this one does look like they've planned out, different scenes and what have you. And I was reading up because it was the guy's Muro's first, it's his directorial debut, and he said basically he just wanted to create a movie that was offensive to everyone. And so I kind of think I can appreciate the story behind wanting to make that film, but I must admit I was watching it and we'd seen the trailer and the Viper. The drink that gets sold, and then you have people melting and stuff. That's quite central to the trailer. But when you're watching the movie, I'm not sure what the fucking story is, because the Viper stuff is just almost like this side thing that happens. It's not really central, the story about the different homeless people. It's following them, and Bronson's just this fucking murderous maniac. But he's not even the central person. I don't know. I was just really confused about what was the main line of the story, or like what you said, it's just like the Fast Show, just a series of sketches. And, the iconic things you can imagine, if you're 14, 15 watching this or something, or maybe even a little bit older, you're just like, oh, look at this guy, he's going to drink this stuff and he's going to melt down the toilet. Whoa. I can imagine, with a few drinks back in the 80s, people a little bit older than us might have been big fans of it. But, I was just left scratching my head, if I'm honest.
And I think that's where I sit with it because obviously we've watched some, horror movies, different things. I do agree. Like with Samurai Cop, one thing that always struck me was that sex scene because you could literally see everything. Well, the one with Frank's on the bed, and even the one with like Stallone fucking thinking Kitty's thing, and it was like that's really what sex is. It's not the lighting fucking. If you watch it, I mean, I can't be doing with the fucking fake porno stuff anyway, Dave. Not that I watch stuff like that. It has to be amateur all the way, allegedly. But what I would say is you sort of feel that this is shot better. And I do think the actual effects when they take the Tenafly Viper is pretty good. The toilet scene, especially when that first guy takes it and he's sat on that, like he's in the junkyard, he's on the toilet. Not on the toilet, but he's sat there as if it's a seat. And the next minute, he's just fucking body. His feet go, his ankles go, and he just literally disintegrates in front of your eyes. And I do like that whole depiction of that. Not fucking like, I don't like horror movies at all. But what I mean is, I can totally appreciate there is a lot of stuff with the effects there that really are strange. It's like all the money's gone on that, but the acting, the fucking story. It's just literally been written on the back of a fucking stamp, hasn't it, really? But the idea behind this sort of thing they take that makes people, die and all that thing, I can get behind that. And I do feel that there's some really, it's so all over the place, but there's some really interesting special effects. But other than that, fuck me, is this terrible.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because, like you say, I think the transition, and it appears on the VHS cover, doesn't it? The toilet and the guys disappeared. You can see that was probably the iconic scene out of the whole movie, because they've obviously spent quite a bit of time on that transition, and then he ends up with this weird little goo thing, this little head. I'm trying to think what he looks like. It's not Jabba the Hutt, but it's almost something like that. But later, they just seem to substitute that for some yellow jelly. At times, So some of the effects are and not bad, are these? We've obviously watched like a digitally touched up version, so I imagine watching this on the VHS as well, where it's a bit more blurry. You're not watching it in a HD. I imagine the effects would have looked pretty good. There's no reported budget on this because I guess you have to have over $1,000 spent on it or something. But it's really low budget stuff. But I think for the toilet scene, it's definitely done well there.
Yeah, I honestly, and that's the thing. I can totally respect like what they've done, if that makes sense. It's like I say, the movie itself. You're like, oh my god, and it's an hour and 40 as well, which is quite interesting for a movie like this, because usually, Dave, you would get to 80 minutes, wouldn't you? We've covered movies like this and people watching, you think 80 minutes for these sort of horror movies is the sweet spot, but we've got another 20 minutes, haven't we? And I think as a story, like the guy who runs the junkyard, the big guy, he's horrible, isn't he? I mean, he's even trying to fucking rape the girl at one point, and we get the whole scene, and then he's constantly scratching his bollocks and everything, and like the cop, the exact guy who's the Vietnam vet who's got his little army of people, he's horrible. But then the cop as well, which apparently he was a real cop as well in New York, so there's not much acting going on from him. But what I did see, Dave, what was really interesting, the assistant producer was fucking Bryan Singer from The Usual Suspects and obviously X-Men and stuff. So he was on this.
He's a problematic character.
No, he is. Well, yeah, I know that. That was a little bit of well, he's not problematic. He's a fucking bellend, isn't he? But just as when you read the sort of trivia to it, there's not a lot. But I do think that with this, there's something I did like though, Dave, when they're throwing the fucking bellend around everywhere, they're throwing the fucking dick around the yard. That guy's dick came off, and he's sort of running around as if he can just stick it back on. So, Dave, I want to know. There was 3 versions of the fake dick thrown around the junkyard. There was the pecker, which was the little one, the poker, which is the medium-sized one, and the packer, Dave. Now, you don't have to give us measurements, but which one would you like to be put under?
Well, I thought the size of the guy's cock, so considering he's just having a piss, Right?
Yes, me too. I know what you're going to say.
The
Yes.
cock was fucking massive. If he's homeless, right, he's wasted. He needs to go and get himself a job in porn, because if that is his unerect penis, like, it was fucking huge. So, he'd be giving John Holmes or Dirk Diggler a run for his money. So, but like you say, he's running around as if it's just like he's going to screw it back on like a fucking transformer or something. But I guess that's where the black comedy comes into it as well, doesn't it? It's not supposed to be realistic at all. But yeah, I was just in that scene. I'm thinking, A, that cock's massive, but B, like, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah, because I must admit, I looked down at myself, Dave. I mean, I didn't have my pants around my ankles, but I looked down at myself going, I think I've got a pecker. I think that's... I was like, yeah, this is... I remember there's a guy at work the other week, right? And he's fucking like... he's fucking such a dick, this guy. And he's like laughing, and he goes, fucking hell, he goes, I'm in the fucking pub, he goes, and he's telling us all this, like, on a Monday morning, he goes, fucking watching, I think he's watching United, Dave, so obviously everyone was depressed, so there's no way you're getting fucking, if you're a United fan at the moment, you fucking definitely got a pecker, Dave. There's no arousal watching us play football, as you know better than anyone. But he said to us, he went, fucking hell, I'm having a piss here. This fucking lad's next to us, he goes, I've known him since he was a fucking kid. I'm thinking, and we're all going, do you want to be telling us, a group of lads, like, what the fuck are you telling us? Like, he went, no, he said, I've got to tell you. He said, there's about 3 or 4 of you around having a piss, right? From Salford and that, so proper, like, fucking rough asses. And he went, and I just looked over and I went, what the fuck is that? He goes, I thought he had a fake fucking dick in his
baby's arm.
And then his other mate went, didn't you know about the size of his fucking cock? And he went, no, I fucking didn't. He went, fuck me, it's legendary. And this guy, and this lad, he goes, he's fucking like, I'm like, and we're all like looking, going, where's this fucking going here? You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna get like fucking some music going on here. What's going on here? Like, and then they're all laughing. And he went, and he starts like laughing, and then he starts telling the story how they've, I don't know how to feel about this, but how it's a bit of a poison chalice, Dave. It's too big.
I was going to say, you have to have the other side of the equation ready to accept massive cock, aren't you?
Well, yeah, you do. But I mean, the dream when you were a child was, well, not a child.
Oh, the bigger the better.
Horrendous. The bigger the better, yeah. You see them adverts, put that pump on your cock, it'll make it grow by 2 inches, Dave. Fuck, mate, I had a fucking, a Casey fucking pump on mine. Fucking trying to
give me 2.5 inches, happy days.
I always thought that them football fucking pumps were for your bell end, and you just fucking pumped them down to make it bigger. It never worked, Dave. It was sore, but it never worked. But yeah, I was like, everyone's like, the lucky bastard. I mean, he goes, no, he's telling us. He goes, we all sat in the pub having a drink with him, like going, fucking, I'll have you, thinking he was like some fucking porn star. He went, no, he said, it's been the fucking bane of my life. And I was thinking, and you do hear them stories.
Oh, hold on, I'll get my fucking tiny violin out in a minute.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, no, I'll get my tiny cock out, and I'm looking to try play that if you want. Me pecker.
Well, we were talking about stretching it out before, but I think you were talking about the length of the film.
Fucking hell, Dave. I feel totally inefficient now. But yeah, he was and then it become like this big story. But then we all got involved at work going there, look. And then everyone at work's like sort of crossing the legs or putting their hands over and thinking, yeah, none of us are packing here, are we? We're just fucking average Joes sort of thing. I told you before, my nose does the Lord's work, Dave. I'm fine. Don't worry about that. I told you they called me Woody Woodpecker, but there you go.
I'm not suggesting this as career advice, but I mean, if he's saying it's the bane of his life and stuff, and I imagine, he's working class bloke, trying to earn a living, trying to save up for a mortgage and yada yada. These days, I mean, why? Just fucking get your own OnlyFans page or something. Well, like, why wouldn't you? Well, actually, I think there's a million reasons why you wouldn't, but I'm just thinking, I don't know. I think it's a viable career alternative now.
Yeah, Dave, I'm seriously thinking about it. Average fucking guy, big nose. He's got to be a market. You know what I mean? There has to be my fucking dodgy feet as well. That's the one, Dave.
That's true.
I think I've told you the story on this podcast before. There was a guy I worked with, and his nickname was Girth. I think I've told the story before, so I know I'm repeating myself, but that story's still a classic. And he was like, and he's got Girth. He asked me nickname. He goes, because my fucking cock's about 10 inches long or something, he said. And I was like, right. So he's like, yeah, and he goes, but the thing is, he goes, what's the point of having a fucking cock when I've got a face like Jimmy Nail? And he looked like Jimmy Nail, and he fucking used to go on about it all the time, so I used to piss myself laughing. Well, yeah, there's small mercies, isn't there, for all of us average guys. But anyway, we've totally derailed the podcast talking about the size of this random guy in Salford's cock, Dave, but there you go. But yes, I do believe I'll fall on the pecker branding today, Dave. I'm not feeling very average with the pecker or anything.
Anyway, so
move on.
Yeah. So yeah, I was just struggling for what the actual story was, but it makes sense. Like I say, if you look at it more like a sketch show, you know, the Viper stuff is just one of the things that's happening there. I think you mentioned about the makeup, you know, that they've used. I mean, everyone looks so grubby and gritty, don't they?
Yeah.
And, you know, Bronson, he's got Wynette is like his girlfriend there, and they're all over each other. I'm just thinking, oh God, just have a shower, please. You know? But one of the bits that did kind of make me laugh, I must admit, you've obviously got like there's a guy in the car with his girlfriend, and he's obviously supposed to be like some kind of lefty liberal type person, and Bronson's coming up to the car, and the girlfriend's obviously panicking a bit, and he's like, oh no, it's okay, you know, he's just going to wash the car, everyone needs to live in or whatever. Then the next minute he fucking kills him, he rams his head through the front of the car, which apparently kills you. So yeah, I don't know. It was just so stupid that it did make me laugh that bit.
It did, and I mean, one of the bits actually which is quite bad is what the girl who gets sort of attacked in it.
Yeah,
she'd actually been attacked a few years earlier, and it gave her PTSD. What the fuck?
Why would you take the role?
No, and
you're looking at the script.
Exactly. I mean, obviously, I know we're acting, but the poor girl there, she just had like fucking proper flashbacks as well after the back of it. So you're like, what the hell? You know, so yeah, that's not good. But
that was grim, that scene, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was grim. It wasn't a fucking good scene at all.
It was weird because she was sort of with the bloke anyway, but it was like she was fucking possessed or something. You know, when they were having some actual sexy time. Quite a lot of bush in this movie, I noticed.
My first foray into porn movies, Dave. Yeah. Oh my God.
It's weird to go back, isn't it? It's like, oh,
fucking Graham Souness down there. What's going on?
Graham Souness. That is a parallel I thought to make. But no, I can't shake a mental image of you basically having a cock like Graham Souness. It's taking a turn today, hasn't it? But it was a grim scene, and you could tell where the way it was going to go because the homeless people outside they were like sort of rabid. But I didn't think they'd go there. But basically, they fucking drag her off. And then it looks like she's probably gang raped off camera, and then she's sort of dead as well. And so the old fat bloke, the fucking owner of the scrapyard, you know, he has a bit with her later on with a fucking dead body. It's like, fucking hell.
Fucking unbelievable. And obviously why he's scratching, isn't he, and all that. Oh, fucking hell. But there's just fucking do. If someone like listens to this podcast half the way through, they'd be like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, the fucking police round there straight away. But it's so bizarre, isn't it? This big guy, and then there's a bit where the big guy he's not no way redeemable, but it's almost like the story comes from his perspective at one point when he's going through his junkyard and you've got these people. I mean, you've got one guy in a car on its side and he's sat in the fucking driver's seat side on, isn't he? One of the fucking hobos. And then, like I say, you got the Vietnam vets. But I also think my Samurai Cop reference was like the police stuff. That is not needed in this movie. That feels like they've tagged that on. They were doing like a bit of a workshop, an acting workshop, and went, I tell you what, I think this might go with the movie. Just throw it in there because there is no need for the cops or anything. There's that weird interaction with the New York gangster, isn't there, with the cop. And he's just like, yeah, he goes, you know what you've done? You know what you've done? And I'm like, what the fuck? It's not the fucking Godfather. And then they're like, there's this weird setup going on, which doesn't really go anywhere. It's fucking bizarre. It is just literally a mishmash of scenes put together at times.
Yeah. And the thing is, you've got Bronson there, and it's like he's in the scrapyard, but it's like he's part of the Mad Max world or something.
Yes.
And, you know, the cop is obviously trying to solve these crimes and leads up to Bronson. And so rather than, you know, come with a bunch of cops, they just have a set to themselves. But then, you know, he gets stabbed in the back, doesn't he? It's quite a brutal scene. But I'm thinking, this is fucking bonkers. Like, again, is it supposed to be almost post-apocalyptic? But the rest of the movie is just a regular world. It's just regular New York, isn't it? Actually, maybe I've answered my own question there. Fucking New York in the 80s. So, yeah, definitely a mishmash of scenes. But, yeah, and again, I thought the Viper was going to be a lot bigger part of it, but it was only really kind of I don't know, 10% of it, maybe 10% of the whole movie, because you get the guy who obviously drank it and went down the toilet, and then it sort of reoccurs a little bit as the movie goes on later, doesn't it? But it's not really a massive part of the movie.
No, and it's not. It's weird because you're right. As it comes to the end, and sort of Bronson is sort of almost like fucking possessed, and he gets the stuff on him, and then he's chasing the guy and his girl, and yeah, I couldn't even say there's a payoff at the end because I'm sort of like, well, it's so obvious what's going to happen, and I wouldn't say it's a comedy at all. There's obviously actors playing that sort of drunk character you're seeing. You know that guy, Dave, who's in like the Cannonball Run. He's in Superman 2 when, you know, Zod and that walk on water.
When he sort of looks at his drink.
At the bottle, yeah, and he's never. And the guy in real life had never ever had a drink in his life, but he was amazing at playing a drunk one. He was always in these like action movies or whatever, and he was so clever. You're same thing. He looks at the bottle and throw it as if to say, "I'm giving up fucking drink." There was a few bits like that where you can clearly see they were going for that, but it was just so poorly executed, wasn't it? And like at the end of the movie, it's fucking rubbish. Like an hour and 40 is a long time to get to this conclusion. It really is. And I would give one a bit of advice, Dave. You can speed it up if you've got the YouTube app on your phone. If anybody wants to watch it, there is a speed up app thing. I think 1.25 is the sweet spot. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad Susan's picked it because you're sort of going through it going, if someone ever says it, have you ever seen Street Test? I can go, yeah, I've watched it. I'm not watching it again. And I'm not buying the fucking Blu-ray like Samurai Cop and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, what an interesting movie. But I think just because it doesn't feel like a movie, it just feels like some sort of weird Tales of the Crypt sort of mishmash of scenes put together.
Yeah. Because, and the Viper is the consistent thing within this Tales of the Crypt, you know, episode or what have you. But, you know, someone who I think jumped out to me and someone who I thought, actually, you're almost too good to be in this particular movie was the Doorman.
Oh, yes. Yes.
He was coming out with, like, you know, he's in fucking mortal danger and stuff, and he's just being an absolute smart ass. I thought actually you're pretty good for this movie. I think there was something just about his delivery, you know, and the way he spoke, and he had almost like a little bit of a John Cusack look to him. And I I looked him up. He's a guy called James Lawrence. Now, this is the second most popular movie he's been in, so he's not a massive star. But he was in also Frankenhooker, the 1990 movie, as Jeffrey. So we might have to watch that at some point. He's obviously going for all these highbrow films. But yeah, I thought he was, again, quite a funny bit of the movie, particularly at the end where you've got the mobster guy who's dissolving after he's drank the Viper and stuff.
Yeah, you've described that brilliantly, Dave, because that makes more sense than what we were seeing on the telly. But no, honestly, what a bizarre movie again. And like I say, I know I've absolutely dropped a monumental bollock by saying Susan has the official award.
The award that no one else is going to try and get at all.
No. And I know that I can feel my WhatsApp burning later when you go, you're an absolute bella. My inbox, when this is released, it's just changed completely. So I do apologise in advance to you, David. But anything else before we get into our scores?
I think we should just get into the wrap-up.
So, Dave, for me, and apologies, Susan, this is an awful movie. It really is awful. It isn't the worst movie I've ever seen. I've got to say, it's not. Because it wasn't one of the ones where I was like, holy shit, please, can we get to the end? I did want to get to the end, and I thought 1 hour 40 was absolutely taking the piss. But I still watched it. So it's terrible. The scenes don't make sense. Some of the acting is goddamn awful. Like I say, I think there's only one guy who comes out of it with any redeeming qualities is a doorman guy. But other than that, it is fucking terrible. But I kind of appreciate the effects when the sort of the Tenafly Viper stuff kicks in. That is actually okay for what the budget is and everything, but all around it is an awful movie. So I'm still sending it, Dave, to Alderaan. 100%. This is a terrible movie. I will never watch this again, but I can tick it off and say at least I've watched it. And if someone's not watched it listening, well, you've still got to watch it if you want to follow along with me and Dave. So yeah, that's one thing. So thank you, Susan. But what about yourself, Dave?
Well, Chris, I cannot describe this as a pleasurable watching experience. And just, I'm watching it. And again, I think I was thrown a bit by the trailer and the VHS cover that, it's going to be all around this Viper. It's going to be some weird body horror, garbage pail kids thing. And I was just confused about what was the main storyline I'm trying to latch onto. I kind of like movies to have a story. And I don't feel like this was, like we've said before, it's this mishmash of different sketches and different characters and situations. So I found this quite a hard watch. And definitely the guy set out to offend everyone. And it's not, I'm not offended by it, but I just feel a bit queasy watching it. Just so many different things about it. But I'm not going to send it to Alderaan. I do appreciate when someone just sets out, you just don't get this same level of independent movie anymore where someone just comes up with this fucking bonkers idea. Partially because, people have iPhones and things now. So the shot quality immediately is so much better. I just feel like you've got people making little student movies that are better quality than this, but I appreciate this for what it is. And so for me, it's going to be a Hell's Kitchen, which is the other podcast, Chris, which we haven't done for ages, which is Comics in Motion.
Yeah, well done, Dave. It's a crossover episode.
I'm going to send it to Elm Street, which is the equivalent. So yeah, I do appreciate this for what it is, but yeah, probably will not be watching this. I am glad I've watched it though. It is, again, it's another one of these just little indie films that not many people have heard of, and just someone set out with a particular vision, and I think they delivered on that. And like you say, some of the body horror shots when they're dissolving after drinking the Viper, considering they wouldn't have had much budget, it's actually pretty good.
Interesting, Dave. Interesting. I wasn't expecting that. And to be fair, you did throw out an older one last week, which is unheard of for yourself. So 2 in a row would be against the grain. I know I just throw them out like confetti, but I'm very rarely in the middle these days, Dave. That much. Well, no, actually, no. I have had a few hill valleys. I'm just talking bullshit. Anyway, let's move on, Dave, because I'm absolutely contradicting everything I say. So
I was trying to come up with a Graham Souness analogy, but I'm dry.
Next week, I was dry watching this, but next week, Dave, our good friend Lee, it's his pick. As one of our great friends and patrons, he has picked a movie, Dave, which is from 1985, and it looks like we're going down the horror route yet again, Dave. So this one is called Demons. So let's get into the trailer. This film conceals...
Be another one.
Yeah.
The preview you are about to watch is for a movie that is unlike any you have ever seen before. It is for a movie that goes beyond temporary fear to everlasting terror. It is a movie called Demons. Yes, the demons are coming, and they're coming for you. Warning, if you have the courage to see demons, sit near an exit. Otherwise, you might never get out. In your theater, who will survive the touch of the demons and who will not? Demons. With music by Billy Idol, Motley Crue, The Adventures, Rick Springfield, and Saxon.
Dave, the soundtrack's going to be good.
No dream.
Yeah.
This is happening right now.
This is like a bigger budget.
And it could be happening to you. Demons. They will make cemeteries their cathedrals, and the cities will be your tombs. Will you survive it?
Oh, no! Why has Lee done this to us, Dave?
Why? Why indeed? It's not as if anyone else is going to try and get these fucking mad movies out after you challenge everyone. So, I just think it's had the HD touch up there. It looks very high quality in the way it looks, but I think it's probably another low budget one, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the soundtrack looks good. Billy Idol, Saxon, Motley Crue. So at least the soundtrack will be good, one way or the other. It does have a bit of a vibe, doesn't it? Like, not a Running Man feel, but something around that time. That's just the way it's shot. So it might not be that bad. Please, for the love of God.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Anyway, you watching it in the evening on the big screen, Chris?
Well, as it says in the trailer, stand next to an exit, Dave. I'm going to do it in the middle of the day with the fucking lights on, the door ready. Fucking make sure no one can fucking chase me. But no, I will not be doing that. So anyway, massive thank you to everyone as always. Big thank you to Susan for today's episode and Lee for next week. If you want to support us, please get over to patreon.com/the VHS Strikes Back. If you want to email us, the VHS Strikes Back @gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media @VHS Strikes Back. And please, if you get a chance, drop us a review on the show. We really appreciate all your support. And Dave, as I'm talking, I am just about to check because I've got a feeling we may be at the 100,000 mark for No Retreat, No Surrender. So let me just find that account, my friend. And I will say to you that we are at... Oh, that's actually Double Trouble, which has been pretty good this week, actually, Dave, Double Trouble. We've had some good... feedback on that one, which was interesting because John Hammond had actually said, did he, that was going to be one of his picks. So I'm very
specifically his next pick. He literally had that one lined up, and you snatched it away, or rather gifted him because he can pick something else truly woeful now.
Dave, no, we're at 99,000.
Oh.
99,000. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Well, we'll wait for subscribers now because we only really put the podcast and a few little bits on the YouTube. We don't really put any effort into growing the subscribers, but they've really come up the last few months.
Well, to be fair, also for anyone who's got YouTube, Dave's been doing some amazing work in the background. All our episodes are now on YouTube on the channel, aren't they? So if you've got YouTube Premium, like I have YouTube Premium, I know you have it, Dave. You can basically put these on in the background while you're moving around. So I know obviously you've got like the podcast app and things like that, but YouTube, I love watching stuff on YouTube and doing some. You can hear what's going on. You don't have to have the screen thing if it is sort of like a chat. It's not really something you need to visually see. But yeah, all the episodes are popping up on there, guys. So as well, so you have got that option if you do want to thingy. So yeah, good stuff.
So you're not going to tell me the number of subscribers?
851, David. We have 851.
Nice.
It is actually a race between the VHS Strikes Back and Phelps Travel Vlogs, which I think I'm at 813. So our VHS channel is beating it to get to 1,000. But there is an impending Las Vegas trip, Dave. So that may the race to 1,000 subscribers, everyone. So let's see. But yeah, honestly, it's got some good numbers on there. It's like Wild Things, 140 views. It's some really good numbers on that YouTube channel, Dave. So you've done some great work there. Thanks for doing that.
I think
really good, yeah.
More people as time goes on, and I'm talking a few years away probably, but I think YouTube will start to become one of the podcast players because you've got like the music app as well that you can use. I reckon they'll create one for podcasts. So yeah, it'd be interesting where that goes, but it'd be nice to make 1,000 at some point. So like you say, who'll get there first? The reality is we put very little effort into the VHS one, but it's suddenly like it's probably to do with this no retreat, no surrender. People are watching the commentary, moaning about the commentary, and then oh fuck it, I'm going to subscribe anyway.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I was just looking. One of our biggest podcasts that's been now released on YouTube is Basic Instinct, Dave, with 356 views. So that's good.
That's mad, isn't it?
That's brilliant. 140 views, 84 views on Devil's Fetus. God only knows fucking why. We've got honestly, these numbers on there. It really is. It's gone 140 for Wild Things. It's a bit weird, though, isn't it? Because Wild Things and Basic Instincts, the middle-aged man in us all, Dave, they seem to have the most views. Maybe there's more Chris
People are probably clicking on it, thinking it's the movie. It's like,
we're going to get abused.
The wife's out, and watch a bit of Wild Things.
Well, is Basic Instinct our next viral hit, Dave? On YouTube. Oh, well, we've got obviously the Graham Taylor, which is a video commentary one. That's got 290 views. No Surrender 1's only got 2,700 views, and that's the full movie of commentary. We still need to do the second one, Dave. So I think we do. To be fair, no, you've done well here. Some great numbers on the channel. So yeah, good stuff.
Well, Chris, for the musical number this week, I thought again, I would be a little bit. I feel like I'm possibly using it as a bit of a crutch now, but I'm leaning into the hair metal, hair rock type era. So this is 87 again. So I've gone that different route, and again. What I've tried to do, though, is avoid just using the title of the movie as the chorus, because that's like the easiest thing to do. But so anyway, I've tried to make this, again, a little bit of a sing-along one. And if you imagine, if I know Mind's Eye, we've got a music video. It's definitely, think of Europe. You've got the leather jackets, the big, massive shoulder pads, the poodle haircut, or maybe like White Snake haircut, the stonewashed jeans, when they're singing, looking deep into the camera. So that's the mental picture I'd like you to have when I play this.
Operate, do the what?
There you go, Chris.
Very good. That's good, that, honestly. You know what that felt like, Dave? Like a training montage video from the 80s.
Yeah.
You know, like a bit of a, not a Rocky, but, you know, like sort of a Karate Kid type feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could definitely play out as the, you know, at the end credits at the end of the movie. But I was thinking I've got a few of these now because I'll collect the next bunch of songs on VHS Strikes Back Volume 2, you know, coming soon, I guess. Yeah. But I was thinking I could probably pull together like a training playlist. You know, so some of these would fit, you know, if you were in the gym or something like that. But yeah, definitely. I've played around with some of the AI generation for videos, but it's not really there, or I couldn't get it working with the different prompts. But maybe if it gets easier, I could put these to video at some point.
Yeah, Dave, you've done great work. Thank you for doing all that. 'Cause I know a lot goes into it, so thank you. Not like me, who puts like 3 lines into the AI prompts and just fucking wings it from there, Dave. But, you know, let the fucking app do all the fucking legwork. You do a lot of work, so I do appreciate it because you spend a lot of time on these.
I'm hoping we do see a follow-up to the, what is it, knees up, put your shoulder out. But anyway, Chris, thank you for doing this. You know what? You've dished out 2 Alderons over the last couple of episodes. I suspect we might have a row of cherries when we get to next week, but let's see. But
yeah, let's see
this week. Thanks to all our listeners out there. Thanks to all our supporters, and we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back.
That's odd.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on, wax off.
Get to the chopper!
1 ring to go. All right. Ding, ding. Bust you up. Go for it.
Well, here we go.
Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Come on. Ain't so bad. Ain't nothing. Come on. You must be crazy or something. I'm crazy. You just a stupid fool.
Yeah, maybe
you crazy or something.
I ain't breathing heavy.
He's a fool. He's stupid.
I see you at 6 o'clock.